Well, hey there, y'all, and welcome into our Nevada Sportsnet studio for episode 2 of Off the Record. Mike Stefansson here, alongside my friend Nikki Pica. Something we have bonded over is our love of the Austin Powers movies. And so every once in a while, you'll hear some Austin Powers quotes coming out of the sports office, courtesy of Nikki and myself. So today, we're going to look at one of the biggest sports topics of the last year and bring it closer to home with our love of Austin Powers. Mountain West Realignment and Austin Powers characters. So we're going to look at each and every school, outgoing, incoming, remaining in the Mountain West, and assign an Austin Powers character to it. This was probably the most fun I've had preparing for something in a while, friend.
No, I agree. I mean, you can go into a lot of different banks when it comes to
Yes,
these Austin Powers
and we plan to.
characters. So it was great. I had the most fun preparing for over the last hour. So.
These are the things we get into. Full disclosure, we do not know each other's lists. So we each have a character assigned to each school. We're going to give our reasoning, break it down, and try to have some fun with it. So let's start with outgoing schools first. Of course, there was 4 schools that kind of were the first big domino. We'll start with perhaps the biggest of them all, San Diego State. The Aztecs finally getting their wish, heading to the Pac-12. Who are the Aztecs in the Austin Powers franchise?
Austin Powers.
Whoa.
I think they have the mojo. They're always kind of just the chill, laid back.
Right off the bat,
yeah, I got the mojo, and they're getting what they want. Austin always gets what he wants. So
I really can't argue with that, but it's funny that my selection is Dr. Evil.
no way.
Which, if you watch the movies, you know that they're actually siblings. So maybe they're not so different, but technically they're on opposite spectrums of good and evil.
Yeah.
I went Dr. Evil because I just felt like for so many years, San Diego State has wanted to muck things up and get out of the Mountain West. And so I feel like they were kind of that first big domino to drop and thus create all this conference chaos and some scary times for the Mountain West. So I'm saying San Diego State is Dr. Evil.
Yeah, that's not a bad take either.
I
Honestly,
like
we
your
go.
rationale.
No, I think it can go either way, which is kind of crazy.
Boise State, similar storyline with San Diego State. Boise State's always kind of been looking, had one eye looking elsewhere, trying to get into a Power 5 or Power 4 conference. So I'm going to say Boise State is mini-me because they're not quite San Diego State and Dr. Evil, but they're sort of in that same lane. And so the Broncos get to be mini-me. R.I.P. Vern Troyer, by the way.
Wow. I'm going to be honest, I did not expect that from you.
That was a
I
fun
did
one, right?
not expect that because I did number 2. He's not number 1. He's not going to be the
Look what I
number
have crossed
1.
off. I changed it.
Wow, you crossed
We were
off.
on the same wavelength initially.
Yes, because they're one of the, across the board with all the sports, one of the top teams, I would say,
totally,
but they're
totally.
not number 1. They're good, but they're not great. So he's just there. That's how Boise State is. They're just there. So
I like Boise as number 2. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mini-me, I think we have good reasonings for each. Okay,
Yes.
so those 2 are out of the way. Another school that jumped aboard with those first 4 to leave would be Colorado State. Maybe some were surprised by that move. Who do you got for the Rams?
I have Basel Expedition, mostly because Jay Norvell gives a lot of unnecessary commentary, especially when it comes to, the rivalry with
long-winded,
CU. Yeah, which is fine. I think he's a really nice guy.
We
but
still love Jay around here.
No, absolutely. And I think it just kind of fits,
Basil Exposition does have an important role in the Austin Powers franchise.
Yes,
he
he
kind of
does.
helps keep the storyline going. He's probably the only
Yes.
serious character in
Yes.
the entire movie. So you will get Basil for me later on. I'm saying the Rams are number 2.
Okay.
And now it's funny because I initially had them as mini-me, and then I said, no, they're number 2 because they're just kind of like tagging along. They're like,
Right.
hey, can we come to the Pac-12 with you guys? Like, we're going to ride along San Diego State and
Yeah.
Boise State and, take us to the Pac-12 too. Of course, Colorado State, beautiful facilities,
Yeah.
lots of money, bright future ahead, but maybe not the championship pedigree or accolades that the Aztecs and the Broncos have. So I think they're number 2.
But that's the
Go
thing
into the
is they
Pac-12.
should be.
Yeah.
So that's where I do agree with that, number 2. So I agree with that.
All right, the other school, part of that first 4 to leave, Fresno State. I've got Fresno State, Scott Evil, played by Seth Green, because I feel like he's the kid that, nobody wants to claim,
Yeah.
and, he's always the black sheep, and they
Yeah.
don't really warm up to him. And so I think Fresno State's like, all right, you got San Diego State in America's finest city, and then here's Fresno State, kicking it in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
Maybe doesn't get the greatest rep. My wife is from that area. I actually love going to the Central Valley and getting out in some of the farm towns. But on the whole, Fresno,
On
most
the
people don't see as a
whole.
very pleasant place. And so I'm saying that Fresno State is the child that no one likes to claim Scott Evil.
Yeah, I was leaning between that or my pick, which is Fat Bastard.
Okay.
And the only reason why I think that is because I don't think Fresno State has anything else except Doghouse Grill.
Yeah, that is their
Which
claim
I
to
think
fame. Right
Fat
across the
Bastard
street from the arena,
food.
too.
Right. So that's kind of where my wavelength went.
As in Doghouse Grill, get in
Get my belly.
Yeah, okay.
Get in my belly.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah. So that's where I was at.
Then we had one tag along.
Mm-hmm.
Utah State said, hold up, we got the invite, we're coming too. The Aggies are who?
Number 3. So this is in the Gold Member movie.
Yeah. Fred Savage.
Yep. Too nice, always nice, but he switched sides. So he was with Dr. Evil in the beginning of Gold Member, and then he switches sides, and he comes in with Basil to greet Austin and Foxy Cleopatra or Beyonce. And but he's also, you can't get rid of him. You just can't get rid of him.
It's because he was literally a mole. And he also has
a
mole.
massive mole.
So if you remember in Gold Member, Austin Powers is transfixed by the moly.
Yes.
What
So
an epic scene that is.
yeah.
All right, I like number 3. I'm going with Vanessa Kensington. I'm going Vanessa Kensington because we thought that she was a good gal, and then at the start, I believe it's the start of number 2,
Yep.
Spy Who Shagged Me, we learned that Vanessa Kensington is actually a fembot.
Fake.
And that has been a plot the whole time. So we thought Utah State was riding with the Mountain West,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the last minute, the Aggies said, psych, we
Yeah.
want to go to the Pac-12. Total Vanessa Kensington fembot move.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Her character didn't really sit well with me, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah,
So
they had to do something to get her off that second movie, I guess. I
yeah,
don't
it was
know.
fitting. That was very fitting.
Before we go to the schools that are coming in now, let's go to the schools that are remaining. Why don't we go with Air Force first?
I have Felicity Shagwell because she kind of betrayed Austin by sleeping with Fat Bastard.
That's true.
But then coming back, kind of dabbling with the idea of going to the Pac-12, but then also being like, no, I'm actually just going to stay. So, yeah.
They sort of helped save the day, really, for the Mountain West.
Right.
Felicity Shagwell. I'm going to go with Basil on this one, Basil Exposition, because I just, I think of the academy. I think of, they can't do the transfer portal. They can't really have as much fun as everyone else.
Right.
And Basil's the one that doesn't really have that much fun in the movies. He's kind of like helping move the story along.
Yeah.
And giving Austin all his different missions and his information and things like that. So I'm going with the Air Force Falcons as a Basil Exposition.
Yeah, that's
Great
a good
character,
one.
though.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's keep it moving. How about the other school that flirted with the Pac-12? Let's just go straight to the UNLV and the Rebels. I got Fat Bastard for UNLV.
Okay.
Now, maybe that's the Nevada alum in me coming out a little
No,
bit.
I mean, definitely I think, when you're living in Reno, they're the dark horse. Not like the dark horse, but they're the evil of this
They are
area.
evil,
So
yeah.
I have Mini-Me, only because of where my Dr. Evil will land. And I just feel like Mini-Me is sometimes a little bit more there than Dr. Evil, for example. So.
Well, I think my Fat Bastard rationale is you have this entertainment capital of the world, and it's just,
Yeah.
he's so gluttonous, and I feel like Vegas is a little in your face, and
He's definitely in your face.
great facilities and stuff, and Rebels are starting to win, so I can't really talk too much smack. All right, how about New Mexico?
I have Frau.
Frau Farbissina. Okay, explain.
Just because she's way too loud. And 10, 9. Okay, let's just count from
Just
3.
start the count from 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's just go. Just say go. Yeah, she's just really loud, and she's there, but she's also kind of a bigger character, especially when it comes to Dr. Evil scenes and stuff like that. So New Mexico, I would say for basketball, was a pretty big character.
All right, this one's a stretch for me. I'm going with, this is a little bit more of a deep cut for our Austin Powers fans out there. I'm going Patty O'Brien, always trying to steal me Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
As I'm looking back at my notes, I'm not exactly sure why I went with Patty O'Brien. I'm pretty sure that was the last one I filled in. But he ends up getting sniped by Austin Powers. R.I.P. Steve Hartman, who's also part of that epic scene. Who does number 2 work for? Patty O'Brien is New Mexico, but I'm not exactly
You tell that turd
sure
who's
why.
boss.
I think, why I thought it was because, actually, this is it. New Mexico, I think, wanted that Pac-12 invite and didn't get it. And
okay.
so I don't think they had their Lucky Charms, just how Patty O'Brien loses his Lucky Charms.
I like-
That's kind of how he dies, and then the Lucky Charms, fall on the
Yes.
floor, I think is what happened.
Yes, I like that,
We're getting
yeah.
way too into this now.
I know.
Let's transition now to Hawaii. I'll go first. Hawaii, I went with Foxy Cleopatra, Beyonce, for those who aren't familiar. I think my only rationale for that was that just Hawaii is incredibly beautiful, and that's a great place to go to school, and you can't go wrong with Hawaii. It's hard to mess it up when you're in Hawaii, and it's hard to mess it up when you're Beyonce.
That's exactly what I said. I said
matched up on this one?
I said Foxy Cleopatra
Let's
because it's just
go.
so appealing.
All right.
Yeah.
It's
All right, cool. First
enough
one.
said. We're on the same page with at least one of them.
Yes.
How about San Jose State?
San Jose State, I did unibrow, which is unibrow.
Okay. Unibrow did not make my cut. Explain.
Yeah, I don't know, just kind of unappealing. A major character more for or a minor character for like comedic relief, and it's just like a very brief time that they're there. So
similar realm of thinking for me and the Spartans, which I gave Random Task to. Random Task is the guy you may remember that throws a shoe. Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Honestly.
He's dang good at it, though.
Yeah.
But Random Task to me just screamed San Jose State University.
Yeah, I
got respect for the Spartans. They
Yeah.
got work to do. Let's go with Wyoming.
All right, I did Mufasa.
Ooh, you mean Mustafa?
Yes, but I don't know why, but it just kind of felt right with Wyoming because he only answers if you ask him 3 times.
I almost forgot about that tidbit.
Yeah.
You have to ask him 3 times.
Yeah.
Mustafa did not make my cut. I'm a little bummed about that now. But I like your rationale for Wyoming. I
Cool.
gave Wyoming to Frau Farbissina.
Okay, why?
I'm not exactly sure why. Wyoming, has a few things to pride itself on. It's the cowboy state.
Yeah.
They love their cowboy poke athletics out there. Laramie, not a whole lot going on, just enough to make it fun, though.
Yeah.
I gave
Electric.
Wyoming to Frau. I just think she fits in well up there.
Okay, that's fair.
It's a little random.
I
though.
could see that.
All right, let's wrap up the remaining schools with the University of Nevada.
I did Dr. Evil.
Whoa.
The original. He was riding a good wave.
Yeah.
You know, Nevada was riding a good wave, and then I feel like recently it's just nothing has really gone their way. After a bunch of coaching changes, you have Alford coming in on the way up and going to all these Sweet 16s and all these dance
It
tournaments.
hasn't quite gotten there yet. No,
Exactly. So I don't know, just poorly executed plans. I think. Also, that correlates with UNLV and being mini-me. So.
It's so funny because you had Austin as SDSU. I had Dr. Evil. Then you have Dr. Evil as Nevada, and I have Austin as the Wolfpack. Now,
Yeah.
I pride myself on not being a homer. I try my best not to be. So I don't want this to sound like a homer pick. I think I just didn't want to give Austin to anybody else, though. I
Right.
just felt like I can't give him to anybody else. I did enjoy the San Diego State reasoning on your part.
Right.
But I'm more so looking at the new Mountain West and a
Okay.
chance for Austin for Nevada to
Yeah.
be the Austin Powers
Yeah.
of the new Mountain West. Dance moves and style and all. Austin not always making the right decisions. Sometimes has to have people back him up.
Yeah.
Nevada's Mountain West championship run cryogenically frozen for the last couple of years.
True.
And so they're looking to unfreeze it
Yep.
and potentially get his mojo back. Wolfpack trying to get their mojo back and maybe add some trophies to the case. So I gave Austin Powers to Nevada. Like it, hate it. That's okay. That's what we're going with. All right, let's continue now with the incoming schools. Let's start with the minors from UTEP.
I think you got to go gold member. Minors gold. I think
Wow,
it's.
that was way too easy.
Yeah.
That was just hanging there for you.
I know, right?
I didn't even think about that. All right, so gold member is okay. I like that. It's like more of a literal meaning
Yeah.
for that. Okay. I went Ivana Humpalat,
Ivana
who
Humpalat.
steals Austin Powers' mojo
Yep.
in the initial movie, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. If you haven't seen it, you should. Ivana Humpalat, I just felt like UTEP was like, I want to get somewhere else.
Yeah.
And like, I want to meet you, and I want to be a part of your conference. I want to bring all the sports with us.
Oh, yeah.
And infiltrating the state of Texas is the Mountain West. And so I think the minors, Vana Humpalat.
Okay.
All right, I'll keep it moving here, and I'll start with UC Davis. Maybe the biggest surprise of the incoming schools in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
Not bringing football, though. I'm going Felicity Shagwell. I think it was just that UC Davis proved to Shagwell if it got into the Mountain West, frankly, because I think we were all kind of scratching our head like, okay, the Aggies
Yeah.
have some things going for them. Will they strengthen the conference? Remains
Right.
to be seen. Felicity Shagwell, UC Davis.
Okay. I did Shark with frickin' laser beam #1. Only because I don't know. It's
I
just.
wish I would have got that in.
Well, that's the thing.
The Sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their head.
Yeah.
UC Davis. Okay.
First, it was a surprise to Dr. Evil.
That's
It
right.
was a gift.
It was a gift.
And then it's just kind of random. So that's.
I actually think that's a way better pick than mine. And so I'm really glad you got the Sharks with the laser beams on their head in this. All right, how about Grand Canyon University?
I went with Scott Evil because in Arizona they are considered the unwanted child.
Okay, and
So.
you know that having gone to school out there.
Yep.
And I went with gold member with GCU because I feel like they have a lot of money.
They do.
They have
yeah.
a lot of money. And so That's basically my whole rationale with that.
Okay,
so you
yeah.
were thinking the miners are mining gold. I'm saying GCU has a lot of gold.
Okay.
And so they get to be gold member. All right. Northern Illinois will join as football only. So who do you got for the Huskies?
So I have Rubber Ducky, who is also known as Dr. Evil in the third one, when him and Gold Member are having a convoy and Gold Member is racing to get back to the submarine. And he goes, Rubber Ducky, what's your 1040 or 1020 over?
So it's like another Dr. Evil character.
It's basically Dr. Evil, but in like a country form, and that's kind of just how I view Illinois. So.
Well, NIU, I went with Alata Vagina. Risking my career.
Yep.
Part of the first movie tries to entice Austin.
Yes.
And tries to catch him up. Nearly does. Mm-hmm. And I think NIU just found a way to entice the Mountain West to say, why don't you just let us come and play football with you guys? And that's it. And so NIU, fun new member, infiltrating the state of Illinois now. Mm-hmm. Alata Vagina. I think we did pretty well.
No, I think so too. I do want to throw out there Nigel Powers. I actually think could be UNLV.
Austin's dad.
Yes.
Okay, and there's like a mixed relationship there.
Yep.
Turns
thinks
out he's the
better.
father of Austin and Dr. Evil.
Yep. Thinks
Spoiler
he's better
alert.
than Austin sometimes.
Yeah.
Always, you know.
I think the Pac-12 conference as a whole could be Mustafa because it refuses to die.
Yep.
So we can go with that. How about bonus? This all happens because Washington State and Oregon State, right? Mm-hmm. They decided they wanted to rebuild the Pac-12, pardon me. There was that 2-year agreement with the Mountain West. Instead, it's only going to be the 1 year now. So do you have any bonus for WSU and OSU as I kind of put you on the spot there?
I think maybe just the fighting henchmen.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. Just the ones where they're fighting Nigel and Goldmember.
Yeah.
He's like, just
they could be
just fall
fembots
down.
too.
Yep. So.
Or, as I put on here, as a little bonus note, Fuku-you and Fuku-me.
Fuku-you, Fuku-me.
You know, both similar motivations.
Twins.
Although it depends on who
Twins.
you talk to. Twins.
Oh, I could recite the whole movie. It's so bad.
Yeah, don't get us started because there might be some copyright infringement because we're so dang good at quoting that movie. Let's
Yeah,
call
it's
it
bad.
What it is. I don't think we need to review this at all. I think 10 out of 10, no notes.
I think so too.
Well done.
Let us know what you
Mountain
think.
West realignment into the Austin Powers universe.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yeah, hit us up. Off the
kidding.
record, feel free to reach out with different topics too because we're trying to
Yes.
get weird here at NSN.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully this was weird enough for y'all. Shout out to Nikki. I'm Mike. Who would you be in the Austin Powers franchise?
Britney Spears.
Yeah,
I'd
I'll go Tom Cruise as Austin Powers. Hey.
Yeah, no, I would probably be Mini-Me.
Okay.
I love Mini-Me.
He's
so,
great.
yeah, rest in peace. So, yeah.
All right. And with that said, that has been Off the Record. Back to your regularly scheduled Big J journalism over on Nevada Sportsnet. For Nikki, I'm Mike. Shout out to Naya behind the camera. We'll see you soon on Off the Record.